5,000? This can't be right. I'm so overwhelmed. What am I gonna do? Mom, please get better.
At 14 years old, you make a decision for $5,000. You stand in a hospital hallway holding a wrinkled bill in your hands and staring at a number that feels unreal. $5,000. That number can save someone you love, but it will also slowly begin to change you. Not in one dramatic moment, not in one terrible night. It happens quietly, gradually. So slowly that you never notice the exact moment you start becoming someone else. And the strange part is this. If this story paused right now, right at the moment the choice appears in front of you, there's a very good chance you would make the same decision. Most people would. Because from where you're standing, it doesn't look like a moral test. It looks like survival. It looks like responsibility. It looks like love. Just hours earlier, your life looked completely different. You were sitting at the front of a classroom, writing quick notes while the teacher explained something about history and governments. Your desk was neat, your backpack organized. After school, you walked home slowly, kicking small stones on the sidewalk and thinking about the future the way disciplined teenagers do, like a ladder you plan to climb step by step. College, scholarship, public service, real change. At night, you lay in bed reading books most 14-year-olds never touch. Political theory, history, biographies of people who believed broken systems could be repaired from the inside. Sometimes you would close the book, stare at the ceiling, and imagine a future where you were the one sitting in rooms where decisions were made. You didn't want power. That idea never excited you. What you wanted was fairness. You believed the world could become better if enough determined people refused to give up on it. That belief shaped everything you did. Your grades, your habits, the way teachers spoke about you, the way relatives proudly mentioned your name during family dinners. Your future seemed clear, almost predictable, until one ordinary afternoon quietly erased that entire timeline. You walk into the kitchen and see your mother standing near the counter, holding the edge of the table like the ground is suddenly unstable. She tries to say something, but the sentence never finishes. Her body collapses. The sound of the chair falling against the floor echoes through the room. You rush forward, kneel beside her, call her name again and again. Your hands shake while you reach for the phone. Minutes later, strangers rush into the apartment carrying equipment and urgency. The ambulance doors slam shut. The city lights stretch into long lines outside the window while you sit beside the stretcher, trying to understand how a normal day turned into this. Hospitals feel different when you're 14. Too bright, too quiet, too many adults speaking in careful voices as if every word might break something fragile. Hours pass in a waiting room chair that feels harder every minute. Nurses move quickly down the hallway. Machines beep somewhere behind closed doors. Every sound makes your head turn. Eventually, a doctor stops in front of you and explains the situation slowly and calmly. Treatment is possible. Recovery is possible. But then he slides a paper across the desk. A number printed at the bottom. $5,000. To some people, it's inconvenient. To your family, it's impossible. That number becomes the center of your world. And here's the part no one prepares you for. When a number like that appears, the future suddenly gets a deadline. The next few days blur together. You wake up early, go to school, then rush to small jobs after class, carrying boxes in a storage room, cleaning floors in a tiny shop, helping load deliveries in the evening while trucks idle in the dark parking lot. Your hands smell like cardboard and dust. At night, you sit at the kitchen table counting crumpled bills and loose coins under a weak light bulb. The pile grows slowly but never fast enough. You call relatives, send messages, ask people who are already struggling themselves. Everyone wants to help, but the gap stays enormous. Every day the same thought repeats in your mind. Time is running out. One evening, you sit on the concrete steps outside the hospital, staring at the streetlights when someone sits beside you. A man you've seen before but never spoken to. Calm, confident. The kind of person who seems like the world never surprises him. He asks what happened. At first you shrug it off, but eventually the words spill out. The hospital bill, the deadline, the impossible number. He listens without interrupting. Then he says something simple. I can help. You turn your head slowly. He continues. $5,000. Fast. No bank, no paperwork, no waiting. Just one condition. Don't ask questions. This is the moment where life splits in two. And here's the detail most people underestimate. It doesn't happen during chaos. It happens during hesitation. You stare at the pavement while thoughts collide inside your head. You tell yourself it's temporary. You tell yourself it's not really who you are. You tell yourself this is just something you're doing. Just until things get better. That sentence feels harmless. Responsible even. You're not doing this for greed. You're doing it for family, for survival, for love. So you lift your head. You nod. The man extends his hand and you shake it. And just like that, the direction of your life quietly changes. A few days later, the money appears. You walk into the hospital office, holding the envelope. The clerk counts the bills. The balance disappears from the screen. Treatment begins. Your mother slowly starts to recover. Your family breathes again. The house feels lighter. Conversations sound hopeful again. And for a moment, it looks like everything worked. But here's the dangerous part. Nothing bad happens immediately. In fact, things get easier. At first, the tasks are simple. A phone call here, a delivery there, meeting someone on a street corner and passing along a small package. You walk through the city, carrying out instructions that never seem dramatic enough to feel dangerous. The money comes quickly. Problems vanish faster than before. And slowly a new feeling appears inside you. Control. Quiet control. For the first time in your life, problems appear and you know exactly how to solve them. People begin looking at you differently. They listen when you speak. They respect the calm confidence you now carry. One morning you stand in front of a mirror, adjusting your jacket before leaving the house, and something feels different. You look older than you did a few months ago, but you brush the thought away. You tell yourself you haven't changed. You're just adapting. And here's the twist no one expects. Adaptation is exactly how people change, slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. The first thing that shifts is your language. Your sentences become shorter, sharper. Decisions happen faster. Situations start looking like puzzles instead of moral questions. Before you asked one simple thing, is this right? Now a new question replaces it. Is this effective? That subtle switch rewires everything. Compromises stop feeling uncomfortable. They become tools, practical solutions. And the world rewards that mindset. Opportunities grow. Influence grows. From the outside, it looks like success. But inside, something quieter is happening. Something slowly fading. Months pass. Your confidence grows. Your routine changes. New contacts appear in your phone. Your schedule becomes fuller. Yet every so often, a quiet thought slips in when the room is silent. When exactly did things start changing? And the uncomfortable truth is that you can't point to a single moment. It happened step by step, decision by decision, until one evening something unexpectedly slows everything down. You sit in a small cafe across from a friend who knew you long before any of this started. He studies your face for a moment and then asks a simple question. Are you happy? You open your mouth to answer, but nothing comes out. Because happiness isn't something you've been measuring lately. You measure progress, respect, influence, effectiveness. But happiness? That word feels like it belongs to a different version of you. The silence stretches between you and the table and suddenly feels heavier than the question itself. Later that night, you return home and open an old storage box looking for something else. Instead, you find a photograph, 14 years old, standing outside school. Bright eyes, huge plans. And in that quiet moment, a brutal realization hits you. You didn't betray your values in one big dramatic moment. You traded them slowly, in small reasonable installments. One compromise at a time. One explanation at a time. One practical decision at a time. Each step felt logical. Each step felt justified. Until one day you looked around and realized there was almost nothing left of the person in that photo. That's the real cost of the $5,000. Not the deal. Not the risk. The slow erosion of who you were. And suddenly a new decision appears in front of you. Not the one you made at 14. A different one. You can keep climbing. More control, more influence, more success. Or you can stop. One morning, you wake up early and stare at the ceiling while the city outside slowly wakes up. Cars pass. Distant voices echo in the street. Then you get dressed, step outside, and walk through the streets without any destination. Cold air fills your lungs while the sky slowly turns brighter. And somewhere between one corner and the next, you realize something important. You finally see the direction you've been walking. So you do something unexpected. You stop. Not because someone forced you, not because you failed, but because you finally understand where the road leads. You choose uncertainty over control, identity over influence, peace over power. And for the first time in years, you feel something real again. Not dominance, not pressure, relief. Now imagine something strange. You're 14 again, standing in that same hospital hallway. The same offer, the same $5,000, the same desperate situation. Would you choose differently? The scary truth? Most people wouldn't change the choice. They would only change the price.